Okay. Welcome to the Speak the Language podcast. I am here with Jordan and Troy. We are sitting in the Cottonmouth camp house.
When was the last time I did this? Back when we were elk hunting, huh? Me and you?
Yeah.
And Jordan?
Something like that.
Yeah, September. Last time I was on.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we were actually, that morning, we were getting ready to go elk hunting. The morning Wilbur killed his bull.
I don't even remember.
Me neither.
I do. We got up early and we were sitting there and we were doing the podcast and Wilbur walked in and brought us coffee, remember?
Oh, yeah.
I do remember that. I just couldn't remember if that was the...
Hey, you don't invite me no more.
No, I'm trying to remember the day Wilbur killed his bull.
That was the last day we were there.
Yeah.
At the water hole, remember?
I do remember that. And then, I don't know, all of it runs together.
And here we are, January.
That's what I'm saying.
Seems like a year ago.
This podcast is a day late because I didn't realize what day it was. We got like midway through the day, we eating lunch. I was like, "Is today Monday?"
Well, the holidays kind of jacked that up, so to speak. Everything happened in the middle of the week.
But it's no excuse. I should have had it out, but here we are. We'll have it out by Monday night. Like I'll put it up tonight, so technically it'll still be out on Monday. Just not Monday morning.
What? You never advertised Monday morning.
No, I just said Monday, so I guess still sticking to what I said.
True.
Technically. So we're just going to talk about what's been going on because that's the most interesting thing that we have to talk about.
Well, Delta had a birthday.
Delta had a birthday.
Jordan's lab.
Delta turned 3 years old this week.
Getting up there.
I feel like we've been over here for a month already, and it's January the 6th.
Yeah.
We've been here for 4 days. Came on the 2nd.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought we'd been here since October.
Well, I mean, since we've been home.
Oh, after the holidays?
Yeah.
I know the...
But the days are so long this time of the year. I mean, you duck hunting in the morning, deer hunting in the evening, and...
Attempting to deer hunt in the evening.
Well, it's kind of, I think, what we're going to talk about a little bit because it's kind of...
Yeah, it's like usually here's where we sit. Usually, that first week back, because me and Jordan and I talked about it on the one of them 2 podcasts ago. Feels like we're in high school still because we have like a Christmas break that we go on. You know, like we hunt. Then we're like, Christmas holidays, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. And then, but usually when we come back after New Year's, historically, that first week back, which would be this week, we do really well with ducks and deer. And we've done well on ducks, but deer.
That second rut's kicking in, but
yeah,
we're kind of under the same scenario we were under last year. The only difference is, well, it shouldn't be the only difference. Yeah, I guess you could say the only difference is we're dealing with and we talked about this all year, is a sheer drastic decrease in our deer herd.
I guess.
From last year's flood. And now we're flooding again.
Yeah. We don't know how bad. Hopefully not that bad.
Yeah, we know how bad. 41 feet.
41 at the Vicksburg gauge, which puts a lot of dirt underwater.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it gets a crest, and then how fast it's supposed to fall.
It's supposed to fall on out long as we don't have a front hit in the Ohio River Valley.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know because we didn't know it was going to do that last year either. Like, we thought we were like, well, for 41, 43, then we're fine. Like, nah.
Kept on
that sucker
rising.
shot up, and then it didn't leave. So I think everyone that hunts along that river is just a little bit gun shy whenever they hear about a high river because you don't know.
Yeah.
You hope. I mean, I hope that it goes back down.
I'm no meteorologist, but I feel like after watching the weather this year and knowing we haven't had a very severe winter up north, so I don't think there's as much snow. I mean, friends that I have in Minnesota and places like that, there's just not the amount of snow that they normally would have. So hopefully, and God willing, we don't have a big rush of water come down this spring.
Yeah. I wish, the deer need it. Heck, the deer deserve it. I said, they had to put up with so much when it does that to them, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, like, next fall. Granted, the river does okay. I mean, if it comes up for a little while and then goes right back down, I think it'll be fine, but I'm just interested to see how they bounce back next year. I don't know what that'll be or what it'll look like.
Only the Lord knows.
Yeah. I don't think anybody knows. I don't know if anyone even has a good guess.
Well, the one thing we do know is based on trail camera surveying all season long, knowing what bucks we have here outside of the ones we've killed. Now, whatever shows back up based on what we grow this year, we know we got some 3 and 4 year old deer that we put our eyes on this year, i.e. did put our eyes on, and also got trail cam pictures of them. If the stress level is very, very low and the food's good this coming summer, ain't no telling what we'll have when it comes to that sizes.
Yeah, it very well could be. Just, I hope they're all right.
Oh, it'll be fine. The thing that it's kind of like, you think about what's going on in Australia right now with the fires, and you look at the fires that go on in California, and you wonder, how does that ever bounce back? And it's kind of the same scenario we're under. It's year after year after year, we're getting flooded, and jeez, man, how much water can you deal with?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine what this was like before they had a levee system?
Oh, yeah.
The Delta flood. I mean, you look at old pictures and old books back, the 1927 flood, but I mean, this place used to just water everywhere.
I've thought about that a lot. I don't know if it stayed as long as it does.
Well, it dispersed so far.
Yeah,
it couldn't have been as severe. You know what I mean?
Everything's kind of funneled down in a little neck down here now rather than spread out. So I don't know.
So I'm sure it's still flooded, but it couldn't have been as high. You know, because it just wasn't as contained. It's more concentrated.
There's a lot of it.
Yeah.
And you didn't have the agriculture that you got now. Back in those days, people farmed 100 acres, 150 acres was a lot because they did it by hand back when.
Think about this. 100 years ago, most of the delta down here was all big hardwoods.
I think
huge.
I think about that all the time.
Little bitty tracts of, open fields and then just timber.
Yeah. I mean,
big timber.
I literally think about that all the time. Not
millions of acres of timber.
Not that I have nothing against farmers. Going to put that out, but I just wish I could have seen what it looked like before. Because I mean, now it's everything's ag fields, which I mean that's how the world turns.
We'd all starve to death if it wasn't for the farmers.
I get it. I absolutely get it. It's not a statement against farmers at all. Don't take it that way. But I'm just saying, I wish I could have seen that, just to see it, just to see what it was like, because it had to be a completely different world. No levee system and just hardwoods.
Yeah. Hardwoods and small fields.
Yeah.
That people farmed. I growing up in South Louisiana, I used to love to talk to my aunts that were my great aunts that were older and let them tell stories about what it looked like, what used to be here, what was here, and you try to envision that, and you can't. I can only imagine. And there again, we'll be doing the same thing with our kids, grandchildren, and everybody. I remember when this was here and this was that, and it changes so fast. You think it's slow, but it's not. It's fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's the old song? Tore down. How's that song go? Tore down and put up a parking lot.
They paved paradise and put up a parking lot.
Go. Yeah. So and I can remember years and years ago my first couple of trips to Orlando turkey hunting.
Mm-hmm.
This was back in the early 90s, and I went probably up to like 96, 97, and then went back in like 2012, and it was like, dang,
where'd all this
come from?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And the places I can remember turkey hunting now got malls and big hotels, and it's like, and it's just growth.
And talking about this place too, I mean, how many acres of land did we lose last year from water corrosion?
Yeah.
A lot.
Think about it. I mean, we had to put a whole new road,
Probably lost 100 acres. Maybe that much. I don't know.
Yeah, probably more than that. We don't know. I mean, all the way down that riverbank.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have, if you look at Google Earth in another year from now, you can kind of determine exactly what happened.
You go look at old maps and kind of cut off. Yeah. It's wild. It's wild to think about because, especially if you ride through there and you can see some of it, you can see remnants of the old road where it got washed. And you're like, golly.
I seen it in Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina. You look at aerials or maps. I mean, places that I used to ride around in the marsh as a kid. Now I drive in there in a boat and I don't even know where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's incredible how that happens.
Well, there's like that right on that old road. There's that big pecan tree. We always had a stand.
Yeah, it's laying in the river.
It's gone. You're like,
it's crazy.
Well, you always like.
My first thought was that when I drove by it after the flood went down and we came back this year, my first thought was, did we take that stand out of that tree? I don't remember.
Hope we did. If we didn't, it's gone. Well, like you always, it never ceases to amaze me, like how much power that river has. You know what I mean? And not just in sheer terms of, that big old pecan tree just gone, but just the fact.
It's the main vein of America.
I mean, just to think about, that has that river. Think about all the properties down that river.
Yeah.
Even like the money that people spend inside those levees, from commercial farming to recreational deer clubs to everything, and it has all sits in that river's hands. And here's the thing: that river does not care. It does not care.
No.
It can be nice to you, or it could go, nope, I'm gonna flood again, and it's all gone.
River systems are incredible. Think about the Amazon and the tidal surge that thing has.
Mm.
Huh.
And the water that comes up and down that thing every day.
I just think about like on the most minuscule level, like early season when we were like struggling to find deer. Right, we had our food plots, and like I said, this is minuscule compared to everything else. But we had that first rise in the river, and that one, the no-name food plot that was a new food plot this year.
The prettiest one we had
that
all
we were
season.
all super proud of.
Yeah,
it was gone.
Yeah,
gone.
Jordan and I went in there one day to check it, and it was nothing there. The blind had a water line across it where the water went, and it was just bare dirt.
And you just you're constantly reminded, like, that river doesn't care. It's going to do what it wants to do, and you just had better be prepared for it, because if you're not, it's going to get you one way or the other.
Many a man had tried to stop it.
Hasn't worked yet. It's going to do what it's going to do.
You know the thing that amazes me? Think about what we're doing here now. Have you ever thought that all three of us made the decision yesterday afternoon? Do y'all want to go deer hunting tomorrow? All three of us were like, no.
Negative.
Yeah, not many people would say that, and they're hunting on a place on the Mississippi River,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But when you can't find a deer to hunt, it's hard to go.
And it's knowing and understanding, and based on what we've witnessed, how it's dwindled down to now. The deer are they're shut down and they're shut off, and they're done. The cover's gone. The deer what deer we have on here are in places that it's to the point you just don't want to fool with them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to bother them.
No.
That's what me and Troy were talking about yesterday when we were sitting in New Ground, which, again, like, to our point, you've seen the New Ground food plot in January, on a typical January.
Yeah, 25, 25 deer on a good day.
We saw like 6. And I told Troy, I was like, I kind of, even if we saw a good shooter buck, I was like, I kind of just want to leave him be.
Yeah.
And especially that's on a good day when no water's up. With the water being up, you should see double that sometimes.
And I kind of just want to leave them alone. Just like, hey, y'all just do your thing. We'll see you next fall.
And I've been thinking about, trying to go find where they're at and try to go up in there and figure them out. And I'm like, if we go up in there and try to find them and end up pushing them out, they're gone.
Yep.
Gone.
And we did that. You and I made that. It wasn't a mistake, but we were trying to go hunt a spot that early in the year. You remember you and I walked in there, was going to Oak Tree Ladder, and we walked in, and all them deer were wadded up in there.
Yeah.
And Jordan, I was walking, I was looking at the ground. Jordan says, look, about 30 of them. I don't know if it was 30. It may have been 10. It may have been 20. I don't know. And we got some trail cameras on another food plot, which is the direction that those deer ran towards Secret Plot. And Jordan and I got in a tree, and like 20 minutes after that, he starts getting text on his phone from that trail camera. And that food plot just filled up with deer. Basically, it was all those deer that we bumped, and they all just went to that food plot. So it goes to tell you that right now they're all wadded up together in the only cover that they got, because usually the main cover here on Cottonmouth is cuckleburrs.
Yeah.
Or
red vine.
Or red vine. And when that stuff, when you have a good year, the cuckleburrs are 6-8 foot tall, and that's where they bed up and lay. And we don't have it this year. We got some, but they're knee high.
Yeah.
It was the same thing at when I was at Togo with Brad. He went to a spot, and it was a spot I'd actually filmed him in before in years prior. And I was looking at it, I was like, this looks way different. And Brad said, yeah. He said, we thinned all this out, hoping that, sunlight, thin the can, so sunlight could get down through the canopy, sunlight hit the forest floor, thickens up, perfect deer cover.
Mm-hmm.
And it, but the river kept it so so controlled. Like, I mean, it was still thick in there, but not like it was.
Right.
Not near like it was. So
Yeah.
it wasn't holding the number of deer that it usually did.
Well, you went from a 6-month, 8-month growing period to a 2-month growing period.
Yeah.
You know.
And we had early frost this year in
Yeah.
November. We had colder weather in November than we've had all season.
Yeah, we did.
It's been the strangest cottonmouth season that I've ever had, paired with the end of last season. Last season was different there at the end because of the water doing like it did, and then coupling that with this year, it's just been.
And you know,
odd.
I remember hearing stories, and I've been a part of it one year. Case in point, in Canada, an extreme snowfall, and they shut deer season down because the deer were yarded up,
Yep.
wadded up, and they just shut it down. I've seen Iowa, I've seen Illinois on those really bad winter years where, not that they shut the season down, but it's to the point to where as a outdoorsman, as a conservationist, and as a warm-blooded human being, and don't get me wrong, there's some people that'll go out there and just waylay them, but you look at what they got to go through to survive, and you sit there and think, man, I don't have to kill one that bad. I don't have to just take advantage of that situation that bad. And I'm hoping people that are listening to this maybe will chime in or send you some emails or text or whatever, and let us know what kind of struggles they go through on their place, whether it's water, whether it's snow, whether it's wind, whether it's rain, whether it's fire. I'm most sure everybody has a little bit of something somewhere. Drought.
Yep.
You know, we've been a part of that. I've dealt with that in Texas before, even in New Mexico elk hunting. And I think the amazing thing is how the animals themselves, a God-born, given, created creature, can adapt and make it and survive.
Yeah.
And as for us, if our cell phone goes dead, we freak out.
Yeah. I'm the world's worst. Yeah. It's I think I tell people all the time, it's like, I don't think there's a white-tailed deer tougher than river deer. You know,
It's amazing.
Which me, like, I was like, if I was one of these deer and this river's doing this, I'd go, to heck with this. I'm finding somewhere else to live.
And then if it ain't
You know,
That may have been what they did, I think.
that may, yeah,
if
because
it
that
ain't
is,
the river, it's mosquitoes.
yeah,
It's the bugs. It's the snakes. One thing I can say about the deer inside the river, in the river basin, and in the levee, they don't deal with the ticks like most other deer in the country do.
yeah,
Because of the floods in the water. You get a few, but it ain't nothing like it was. One thing I've noticed year in and year out, and you hear it from everybody, and you hear it from biologists too. Those deer don't have the stress from the ticks, but they do have the mosquitoes and the bugs.
oh yeah, there's no shortage on that.
Mm-mm.
But to change the, I guess, the tone of this podcast so far, to put this on a positive
Yeah, we're not
note.
trying to be oh woe is us.
No,
But
so
we're just sharing how we're dealing with what we're dealing with.
yeah.
We
and
struggle like everybody else.
Oh yeah, 100%. But the silver lining of this is, since we decided to kind of take some focus off of deer hunting, and we'll probably do some more before the month is up.
Oh, ain't no doubt.
We'll do some more deer hunting, but
We will.
maybe, probably.
I'm going to go deer hunting. I think I got to get some more back straps at some point.
Brad and Jimmy are both coming back, and so that's why I'm saying that. Like, they're going to want to go deer hunt some, maybe. But the silver lining being,
You know, Mr. Jimmy Primos is want to go deer hunting. He has not filled all his tags.
oh yeah, I gotta go there. Yeah, that's my point. That's what I'm saying. I was like, I mean, if it was up to me, we would be doing what us three have been doing. We've been focusing on ducks, which
Yeah.
is more fun anyway.
Well, and the beauty about duck hunting is you to me, duck hunting's almost like, that's my wife. I'll call her back. To me, duck hunting's kind of like deer hunting out west. You can scout them, you can see them, you can figure them out, and when the time's right, you go in there and get them.
Yeah, and when it's been a very big breath of fresh air, because last year for ducks was dismal. So the fact that we've had some good hunts this week have been very, it's been nice.
A good change of pace.
Well, and when and you say good hunts, it's not like we're killing 4 or 5 limits.
No, Well, one of those mornings we probably could have.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah, no complaints out of me.
Yeah, just having that and enjoying that time and watching you two, y'all's dogs work, to me, that's fun duck hunting.
Yeah.
Growing up as a kid, I didn't, goodness gracious, I wanted to kill them all.
Yeah, one of the coolest parts to me was that first morning we duck hunted at the first morning duck hunted. It was it was me and Jordan. First we had that big just wad of them try to come in there at pretty much daybreak.
We're still getting set up, and I was over there putting a screw in a tree or something, and I looked up and there's 50 or 60 ducks sitting in the decoys.
Yeah, all of a sudden you could hear them just. Yeah, that was wild. And then we ended up. It was a great shoot, and the two of us both of us shot our limit of mallards. In Mississippi, if you don't know, in Mississippi and Louisiana, because we were in Louisiana then, you get 4 mallards.
I think it's that way pretty much everywhere.
Some places,
I don't know.
I know in like Montana you get like 6 mallards. I think so. Anyhow, but
8.
Well, here where we were in Louisiana, you get 4 mallards and 2 off ducks, something like that, and we had both killed 4 mallards apiece.
Yep.
And there was steady mallards still coming, so it was actually kind of cool. Because me personally, I think everyone's kind of this way. I don't think it's too far of a reach. When you're still worried about filling your limit, you don't really focus on watching the ducks, and so these mallards are still coming in, and obviously we can't shoot them.
You're so worried about not spooking them or moving at the wrong time, but when you're just watching, you can just huddle up next to a tree and be still.
So that was pretty cool, because we had several come in there, land in the decoys, and we're just getting to watch them do their thing without worried about trying to kill them. It was pretty special. That was a very good hunt.
No doubt.
It was fun watching it from my side of the spectrum. It was real fun.
And then so we went duck hunting the next morning. That hunt was kind of slow. Tried to deer hunt again, and that's after that deer hunt that afternoon is when we said, you know what, let's just put our focus on ducks. Then went duck hunting this morning, had another great hunt. And then so this morning, at the end of the hunt, Jordan still had 3 ducks left on his limit.
Yep, I killed 2 gadwall and a widgeon this morning.
Right.
My very first widgeon, by the way.
Yeah.
Very proud of that.
And then Troy was filming, so he had a full limit. So y'all two went ducking this afternoon, and I went filming, and you still had 3 ducks to shoot. Troy had all 6.
Yep.
And then y'all ended up with, you killed 3 mallards, right?
Yep.
And so finished off your limit, and then Troy killed
3 mallards and 2 off ducks. 2
3 mallards and 2 ringnecks.
Ringnecks. Can we talk a minute about we've never talked about this.
You know why Jordan did what he did this morning, don't you?
Oh, I'm no dummy.
He was watching them ducks yesterday afternoon. He thought, I'm not going to kill all my ducks. I want to hunt to see them.
Which is fine. Look.
I don't blame him. I'd have done the same thing.
Which, like I said,
if y'all seen me shoot, I was trying to kill them this morning.
Which is, like I said, it doesn't bother me. Like I'm a bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush kind of guy. So I'm gonna smoke them if you got them, So
absolutely.
If Jordan wants to sit back and if that's what he wants to do, I'm like, all right, fine, I'll shoot them.
I ain't killed enough ducks in my life not to shoot at them if I can.
But so here, let's talk about this, because we did have that flock of ringnecks, bluebills, whatever you call them, come in and rolled them out. Where did the term trash duck come from? Anyone know? I'm not saying that's not a rhetorical question. I don't know.
I don't know, because coming from South Louisiana, I mean, I can remember as a kid Lake Pontchartrain. If people that are listening know about Lake Pontchartrain and Lake Maurepas, I remember Lake Pontchartrain and Lake Maurepas where you would drive across the bridge and you couldn't see the water. There were so many bluebills, and which we called them dogrees back down there where I'm from. Dogrees, bluebills, and you don't see them like you used to. But there's nothing more fun to shoot than those things, like shooting butterball teal. And they're incredible.
I just like, even
but I don't know where that came from.
Even if it's not the term, where did that mindset come from? Those are trash ducks. Where'd that come from?
When ducks, I think the term came when they got rid of the point system on ducks, and you had 10 points, 20 points, and you can kill 100 points was what you could kill on the limit. Pintails were 10, mallards were 20, if I remember, and it was 15. But anyway, and when that point system went away and they started telling you how many ducks you could kill, everybody always goes after the mallards. Well, that became the trash duck. Don't shoot that duck. That's not the duck you want to kill. And I feel like that's where it came from. Some people, I've heard some folks say the guys that hunt green timber, they call them trash ducks, but those ducks never come in green timber anyway.
Yeah.
So I can't blame it on the guys that hunt flooded timber, because I'm a big flooded timber guy myself when I get a chance to go. So I don't know. I think it has. I think it may have something to do with that whole
it's possible
point system going away.
The thing with me is my first exposure to duck hunting was on public land in the Mississippi Delta.
Mm-hmm.
So you shot whatever duck was in your decoys, or whichever one was close enough in shooting range. There was no wait out for the mallards. No,
man, I never saw a mallard till I was probably 18.
Yeah.
I grew up in Scott County. We shot wood ducks, and every once in a while we kill the gadwall.
I told you my story about mallards today in the blind. I used to trade. Y'all were talking about pintails because we saw some this morning. And growing up in South Louisiana around Venice and stuff like that, pintails were just
everywhere.
That was our duck. That and gray ducks. And I had some friends from up here in North Mississippi, and I used to trade out with them. I'd bring them down there. They'd kill pintails because they didn't have them up here. And I'd come up here and shoot greenheads because we didn't have greenheads in South Louisiana.
Yeah. No, for sure. Mallards are gorgeous duck. Obviously, I love shooting mallards. But, I can remember, it was my first or second season duck hunting, again, on public land, not knowing anything. And that honestly, that was one of the coolest things to me about duck hunting is – at the time, I was going with some friends of mine that knew what was going on, and I was still trying to piece it together, and I definitely did not know, and I'm not the best at it now, but, at least a little bit now I can see something flying, and I can say, okay, that's mallards. Those are, kind of pick out what it is. Back in those days, I just saw duck, and I'd shoot it, and I remember I shot a shoveler, and if any duck gets shade for being a trash duck, it's probably bluebills and shovelers are the worst two. That mergansers too. Well, I shot a male shoveler. I didn't know what it was. I knew it was some kind of duck. I thought it was the coolest looking duck.
Oh man, they're gorgeous.
I went out there and picked it up, and some of the guys that were with me were kind of chuckling. He shot a spoonie. I'm like, what is this? This is crazy. This thing's cool looking.
Mallards with a big fat head, big fat nose.
Look at his bill.
But you know what? I think a lot of it comes from uneducated people just hearing what other people say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And y'all hear me talk about poodles all the time, coots.
Yeah.
And so many people give coots a bad rap because they think they're a nasty duck. They eat fish or there's a very small few number of ducks that actually eat fish.
I eat fish.
I love fish. And I'm not 100% sure. I've seen hooded mergansers come up with minnows in their mouth in the past as a kid.
Yeah.
Coots, I'll be honest with you, they migrate with snow geese. They get here overnight. They fly real high, and when they get here, they do nothing. And you can talk to any bass fisherman that's a professional bass fisherman that knows it. If you find coots on a lake, there's hydrilla there.
Yeah,
that's their main source of food. Mm-hmm. They love hydrilla, and they eat nothing but grass. They don't eat fish. And once they get here, they're not a duck that flies back and forth like mallards do every day. Some of the best meat you'll ever eat. The thighs and the legs on them, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's what I think. I can, because again, I was kind of just introduced without those prejudices towards those different ducks because I just didn't know. And it was one time when I was in college, I had just a mess of ducks in the freezer that I hadn't cooked yet. I mean, it was just a smorgasbord. Yeah, and I didn't have them separated, but I knew that. I mean, there was mallards in there was gadwall, there was shoveler. There was all kind of stuff. And them guys were like, I ain't eating no shoveler. I just cooked them all in the same deal. Told them all it was all mallards, and none of them ever knew.
Who's gonna know?
No one's gonna know.
They're not gonna know.
No one's gonna know.
I did that to my dad one time.
It's a predisposed,
Yeah, I did that to my dad one time, not with ducks, but with fish.
Yeah.
And growing up on a trawl boat, we always cooked on a boat, and we'd caught a couple of big speckled trout one night while we were shrimping in night rig. And immediately, once I got done cleaning all the shrimp, I went downstairs, I filleted those fish, and I cooked them. Well, I had a couple of mullets. And my daddy used to always tell me he could tell the difference between speckled trout and any fish you want. So I grabbed them mullets and I filleted them. I was downstairs in the galley cooking, and normally when I'd cook, I'd just reach up and hand him a plate. And I handed him that plate, and he got to eating them fish, and he says, "Man, them fish are so good." Blah 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 blah. I said, "Them first two I gave you like that?" He says, "Yeah, man, ain't nothing better than fresh trout." I said, "That wasn't trout." He said, "Yeah, it was." I said, "No, it wasn't. It was mullet." And here's a man that grew up on a boat all his life.
Yeah.
And he couldn't tell the difference between a mullet or a speckled trout when I cooked, fried them. And to me, it's the same thing with a duck. You know, and y'all seen me in the last couple of days since we've been duck hunting. I'm a fanatic about getting that meat cold quick.
Right. Yep.
Just like deer meat, just like hogs, just like any of that. And the key to that stuff tasting good, i.e. the name trash duck, is taking care of them quick. Getting the guts out if you know you're going to have them all morning long sitting in the boat or something. Just yank the guts out and let that duck cool down. Mm-hmm. To me, it's great table fare.
It's fantastic. You get the same thing about which we don't hunt them a lot down here, but I hear was snow goose is terrible tasting goose. What was it 2 or 3 years ago we killed that whole mess of snow geese. Cooked them up. No one turned their nose
fed
up
them to Jimmy
it.
one time in Canada, and he still to this day swears it wasn't snow geese. And I'm telling you, I said, what else did we kill?
Because it's one of those things. I wish I knew where that came from. Like snow geese they don't taste very good. I'm like, have you ever eaten one?
But you know what I struggle with when people say that? They say, well, it has a wild taste. Well, hello, it's a wild animal.
Yeah, but that's the thing that gets me the most. It's the same argument you hear. You know, when you say this is what you hear most of the time. Well, snow goose, it doesn't taste good. Have you ever eaten it before? No. Well, how do you know? Mm-hmm. How do you know?
Well, everybody calls them sky carp.
Yeah.
Why? They don't eat fish.
Like, how do you know it tastes bad? You haven't eaten any.
They eat the same stuff a regular goose eats.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a snow goose.
I've eaten snow goose. I've eaten Canada goose. I've eaten speckle belly. I've eaten ringnecks, scaup, shovelers. I don't know.
Now, don't get me wrong. You pluck a snow goose like you would a regular duck. They can be tough because they fly a lot.
Yeah.
They back and forth from daylight to dark, back and forth, flying all the time. Yeah, it can be a tough animal to eat. But if it's cooked right, anything can be cooked to the point of where it tastes good. If you take care of it and do the right thing with it. Look, 99.9% of the ducks or the geese you shoot are gut shot. I don't care what you say. Try doing that with deer and see how bad it tastes if you leave gut shot the deer and leave the guts in it and let it lay in the back of the truck for, kill it at 6:30 in the morning, let it lay there till 11 o'clock in the day and see what it tastes like.
That's a good point.
It's not good.
It's a good point. Yeah. I didn't mean to get off on that tangent, but it made me, because I always, whenever we're hunting together, like, if we see some bluebills coming, no one goes, "Are we going to shoot those?" Everyone just goes, "Are you on them? Are you?"
I'm killing them, guys.
Trash.
Look,
duck.
I don't judge ducks.
Yeah, no,
it's like turkeys.
I'm not a species.
Man, that's just a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old. Yeah, so what?
He gobbled. Yeah, a duck is a duck, to me.
It's called duck hunting.
Yeah, it's not called mallard hunting.
But
that's me. That's
waterfowling.
But yeah, we kind of chased that longer than I expected to.
It's okay.
But I wanted to. What are we doing? We can kind of wrap. Yeah, we've been going 33 minutes already. Plans for the rest of the week. We'll close out on that. I know we're going to duck hunt tomorrow.
In the morning.
Then we're going to run home for a little bit, back.
Who says you can't kill ducks on a 70-degree day?
Yeah, good point.
We did it today.
Sure did.
Did it today.
But
70
we
degrees,
did have
sunny.
sun and wind. That's the key right there.
Helps a lot.
The key's having ducks.
That's the main key.
That is the key.
And knowing where they want to be.
Exactly.
Taking the time to scout and not just throwing a dart at it and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Well, we ain't never done that, have we? We got some dull darts.
There's some trial and error involved.
But that's how you do it.
A couple of weeks ago when me and Troy was here, we was trying to figure out where the deer hunt at. I just took a pin and started throwing at the map over there.
Well, look, the deer hunting right now, it's about what you have to do. But ducks, we have ducks here, so we have that to work with. You can do some looking and find out what your best bet's going to be.
And we didn't even really search that hard for ducks either.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's a good change.
Yeah. I think so. So, yeah, that's our plan for the rest of the week. We're probably going to focus a lot on duck hunting while it's good. Deer hunt, if we feel so a mind to, we'll see.
It'll pick back up. I think you'll see a little bit of a movement if we if we'd ever get a good front through here. We're getting
Yeah.
these fronts that are coming through, and all they really are is a wind change. We're getting going from a south wind to a northwest. It blows northwest for a day to half of a day, and then that afternoon it's back out of the south again and warming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a 30 to 40 degree change.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would welcome it for the deer and the ducks.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think that's all we needed to cover. Trash ducks, the river, deer, ducks, Cottonmouth, Jimmy at ATA. Stay away as long as you can. We've got it. Jimmy, thanks for so yeah. Y'all got anything else to add? Jordan, Troy? We good?
I would like to know what kind of response you get on that, or some of the struggles that other people go through.
Yeah.
As we go through the same thing, and every different part of the region has its own little something or the other. As a deer hunter, we all want to say it's the wind, but for us, it's the river.
Yeah. The river. So yeah, if feel free. The folks that listen to it know they always can reach out to us on the Facebook or the Instagram page, and the same applies if you have any more questions. Facebook, Instagram page, don't hesitate. We'll get to it one way or the other, but that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for listening to the Speak the Language podcast.